It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview a sports business owner by the name of Logan Kaufam, who owns a podcast called All NCCA Sports. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on.
Can you talk about how you got started owning a sports business, having a sports writing company?
Yeah, for sure. So it pretty much began over the summer, early in the summer, I'd say around April. I started my own sports website where it was just a smaller thing. I was just doing news because there wasn't much sports going on. And then that website got recognized by a podcast owner in Atlanta, and he had me on to his podcast. And that kind of just blossomed into me writing for other people. Like, I'd say a couple months ago, I really got into writing for other people. And then I decided just about a month ago to start my own website. And it's kind of done good from there. I have about 20 writers now, and it's going well.
Who did you first get started with? Like, how did it get recognized?
So there's a guy in Atlanta where I live who used to do like radio broadcasting for the Atlanta Braves, the Atlanta Falcons, just Atlanta sports teams. And I don't really know who it was. It was one of his friends that just saw my website, like my startup website. It wasn't really anything special. It was just something fun for me because I'd never done it before. But she saw it and she brought it up to him, and he wanted to have me onto his show as a guest. So that's how that got started.
Can you talk about being a sports writer?
Yeah, for sure. So, I don't know. I really began writing real articles a couple months ago. Like I said, I started reaching out to people, and I kind of found my spot with a group called Blue Collar Media Group, and they welcomed me, and I wrote a couple articles a week with them, which was very fun. And from there, I just decided to start my own because I figured I'd like to run my own website more. And it turns out there's a lot of people who are interested in sports writing, so I was able to find a lot of writers.
Can you talk more about this Blue Collar Media and what it's about?
Yeah, Blue Collar Media Group, it's like, I'm not quite sure how they started, but they just like welcome a ton of different people. And so like, it doesn't really matter if they have an age limit, but it doesn't really matter what your situation is, what you want to write about. They'll find a spot for you. And that's what they did for me. Like, I didn't have much experience, but they were willing to give me a chance. And that was really helpful because that really got me started.
What are some sports that you cover in your writing?
So for my website, we cover pretty much all sports, except right now we don't cover PGA. We're looking for someone to do that, PGA Tour. But personally, for me, I can write about just about anything because I'm good with research, so I can research and write well. But my main topics are probably MLB, NFL, and college sports.
Can you talk about how do you come up with different columns to write about?
So the topics that I generate are generally from like current events. So I have like weekly articles set. Since college football games are on Saturday, this is just an example. Every Friday I'll have a article go out about the top 6 games for Saturday and what to expect. So it's just more like current events than anything. Like what's going on is what I feel like I should cover because that's what people want to know about.
What are some of the future plans for your sports writing?
So right now I'm 16 years old. I'm a sophomore in high school. So I'm still trying to figure out my future and everything, but this is like really fun for me. And I'd love to see it blossom into something that I could continue as I graduate high school into college just in the future. But I'd say my goal for it is to have it become more of a multimedia thing where it's more than just articles. Like it could be podcasts too. I'm partnering with other shows, stuff like that would be my goal.
What are some of your future plans whenever it comes to podcasts? Like I know that you've brought me on, like to talk to me about it and stuff. So what are some of your future plans with that?
I haven't really thought about that much because right now I'm just focused on writing articles, getting enough writers to cover all the sports I want. And I'm partnered with a couple shows what I do with them is I write for them. And the one podcast that I did go on, I love doing that. I think what I would see myself doing in the future as far as podcasts go is not really owning my own. I would probably partner with someone and be like a co-host or something like that.
What advice would you give upcoming future sports writers looking to start writing?
I wasn't trying to do this to like make my own website on writing. So it's not, you don't always have to have like that stuff busy. And then it became more of like I can't really call it a job, but that's what it was for me because I spent a lot of time doing it. And then it just turned into doing for fun. And then opportunities will come your way like they did for me. And then you can make the most out of those opportunities and see where it takes you.
With this sports writing, do you see yourself maybe writing books, like sports books too?
You know, I would never rule that out. It's not something I've really thought about, but it's always something that could potentially happen. I think there'd have to be like a story that I'd write about. Like, I don't know. That's a good question. That's something I could consider in the distant future.
Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
So on Instagram, my account is at All NCAA, so ALLNCAA. And then, I mean, that doesn't really have a direct correlation with my website. My website is separate, but my website is lksportswriting.com.
Can you talk more about the LK writing and how you got started with that?
So yeah, my name is Logan Kaufam, so that's how I came up with the LK. It's pretty generic, but I don't know. Sports writing is really what I thought of first because that's the only thing I had experience doing, sports writing. So when I originally made the website, I was just thinking it'd be something for myself, for like my family members and friends to see where I write, like just to store all my articles that I write for other people on my own website, just for me, my use really. But then as I started school again this year, I figured I might hire some write. Really just represents my initials and then sports writing because that's what I began with to get into where I am now.
That's wonderful. Thank you again, Logan, for your interview, and best of luck in your future of sports writing.
Thank you. Thank you again for having me on.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and then you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Logan, for your interview, and best of luck in the sports writing community.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.